Welcome to a demo of the seller side of Shobai. I'm going to walk you through the entire system, and hopefully this will help you get set up and going so that you can start your Shobai sales. So the first thing we'll do is this is a brand new account, so this is exactly what yours will look like. Notice up here I can click on my name, and I can switch between being a seller and a buyer. Okay, so when I'm on my seller account, this is where I do all of my business side, and when I'm a buyer, this is where I can go shop on other people's stores. In the settings, I have a couple of things. We can change our name, password, and display name. This is also where we can put in our own personal addresses. And this is where we can choose an avatar. So by default, you just get this kind of generic one. So I'm going to choose this hippo here. And now I'll have a much better avatar. Okay. So first of all, let's get set up. When we click over to the store here, we'll need to select which country we're in, and this is you can sell to the US or Canada. This will determine where your banking information is, and also the currency in which you are allowed to sell. So I'm going to, since I'm here in the US, choose this one. Hit confirm, and now I'm set up and can set up my store. So the first thing that I need to do is set up my store name. So I'll call this the Demo Store of Great Stuff, and my description is that we sell all sorts of stuff that you need in your home. And the last thing we fill out is the bank card statement. And this will help your customers. Now this depends on the credit card company or bank card company of what they'll print, but you can put in 22 characters that will print on most bank statements. So I'm going to just call this the Demo Store of Stuff. Then I'll update that. Next thing is I need to add a shipping address. So this is the from address that will appear on the shipping labels. So I'll just say 1234 Main Street, and that is in Logan, Utah, and 841321. There we go. Okay, now my shipping label is all set. Next, I need to set up at least one shipping table. So the shipping tables are used during your sale to do a shipping cost based on the total volume that your customer is buying. And you can also, as we'll show in a little bit, you can set shipping up for a specific item as well. But first of all, we have a default one here. If I wanted to have multiple tables, let's say I have one for when I do sales, and so I just want to save it, but it's not going to be active right now, then one that I want for just standard stuff. So we'll actually create a new one. And this one we'll say this is our standard shipping, and this is just so that we can know. And I have 4 shipping categories from 0 to $50. I charge $5. From $50 to $100, I charge $8. From 100 to 150, I'm going to charge 11, and 150 and up, I'll just charge a flat $15. Okay. Now notice that the default table says active, but I actually want the standard shipping one to be the one that's used. So I just click over here on current shipping table, and now the standard shipping table will be the one that's used when our customers check out. Okay, so let's go to the next one, sales tax. So this is where you can set up per province or per state or per territory what your shipping rate is. And so you just scroll down to the areas where you are required to collect sales tax and put in the amount, and it will be calculated for you. So I'm going to do 6.5% in Utah, and I don't have to charge it anywhere else. I'll just leave it like that. And then this will save automatically when we're all done. And the last thing that we need to do is set up our merchant account. This is the way that we get paid. So I'll set up my banking information, and this is where money will be deposited from my sales and also where money will be taken out in the case of refunds. So let's go ahead and set this up. First thing that we need is we need to provide personal information of an individual associated with this account. And so I'll just enter some information here. Email is demo.seller@shobai.com. And the Social Security or the SIN number is required so that the credit card processor can verify identity. And then let's see, oops. There we go. Okay, the next page is if I want to set this up as a legal business entity, then I can enter the information here. And notice that it's this name, the DBA, tax ID number, address, and so forth of the business entity. This is not required. It's just if that's how you want to set it up. So I'm just going to continue on. And next we'll put in our banking information, so where all of our funds will be deposited. So I'll put in my bank account number, and I just have these test numbers that we can use. And then the bank routing number. There we go. And then accept the terms of service. And you can read through this and also click on links to find information about the specific payment systems as well. Okay, and then I can create the account. And now after we're set up, we'll see the screen that just has our merchant account information, who the contact information is, and some information about our funding period, service fee, and processing fee. And we can also update just our bank information at this point because the identity has been verified by the credit card processor, and in order to change that, we need to do that externally through customer service. Notice that the funding period starts out at 10 days, and that's just for brand new accounts. And then the funding period will decrease as you do more sales so that your money becomes available more quickly for you. The Shobai service fee is 10%, but as an introductory rate for all of our early access sellers, it's just 5% of the transaction. And then the credit card processing fee is a standard 30 cents per transaction plus 2.9%. Now that we have our store settings all ready to go, we can get ready to sell. Now that our store is set up, let's get set up to run a live event. So first of all, let's go to inventory. Now this is where you will add all of the items that you have for sale, and we'll provide the description, the pricing, shipping costs, and also the inventory management or the quantities that you have available. So to get started, we'll click on Actions and create a new item. We'll give this an item number, item 100, and this item was $25. Let's add a short description here, which will be shown to the sellers on their invoice as well as during the live event. We'll just say, let's see, a small white hat. A long description. This wonderful hat will bring beauty to your head. Next, the shipping. We can do two things. One, we can use our standard shipping, which is the shipping will be calculated based on that table we created earlier. Or for the specific product, we can assign a shipping cost. So let's say that we had something that was kind of heavy, and so it just had a flat rate. Change that to $10, and then this wouldn't be part of that standard shipping cost. And for this one though, we'll just leave it at the standard shipping. Hey, now we're all set, and we create that and we'll see it pop in here. If we go back to it, we can get some other information that we'll see will become more meaningful later on. So first we have item history, and first thing that will be there is always our initially added to our inventory. when something has been ordered but not yet paid for, we'll see order numbers in this pending orders, and then as it's sold, we'll see a history here of when it was sold, what the order number was, and so forth. Another thing that we can do here is change the quantity. So let's say that I have a product where I got 3 more in stock. So I'm going to add 3 to my quantity. It came in because of new inventory arrived, and I update that, and then and then I update that, and next time I come in here I'll see that I had 3 items added because my new inventory arrived. Okay, so let's create one more item real quick. So we'll say this is item 101. It's $50. This is a blue jacket, size medium, and you'll look great in this jacket. Okay. And we'll save that one. And now that we've created some inventory items, we can now add them to what we call an inventory list. So the inventory lists are things that will help make our live events a little bit easier to manage, because I can set up the whole list of things that I want to show during that sale, however many items, 20, 40, 60 items, so that during the sale, as we'll see, it's going to be very easy to move between them. So the way that I create this is first I go and create a new list, and I can click on that. We'll say this is our let's see, our summer inventory, and the description, remember, use this list for the special sale at the end of the month. And so now this is just internal things that you see. Your customers won't see this, but now I can remember what this is for when I need to go use it. So then I'll go to manage items, just click on the items that I want, and then hit update, and now we see we have this inventory list. And then we're all set with our inventory. Okay, and this next thing that we do once our inventory sets, we can actually go start an event. So let's go up to our event management. We'll click on new event. We'll say this is our summer special sale. And come join me for some wonderful items for you and your home. Hey, so once we create this event, we have the name that people will see, the description that they'll see as well. And then we can do some settings. So first we have a public event, meaning anybody who has a Shobai account can see this sale and join it. Next we can choose just followers. And so these are your customers or people who have previously followed you, and so when this sale is available, only those people will be able to see it. And last one is a private sale. And when I click private, you'll notice over here on the right, this followers tab appears. And if I had followers, I can go in here and select the followers that I want to be part of this sale. So for right now, we're going to do a public sale. Over here on the inventory list, we'll see that we have 2 options. The second one is one that we created, the summer inventory, and as a reminder, we want to use this list for the special sale at the end of the month. So we're going to select that one. The other list is a default one that we call on the fly, and this is if you're just pulling items randomly as you're selling, where you're going to grab an item, you can enter it on the fly during the sale, and we'll show how that works in a minute. The last thing we can do is we can schedule this sale, and the reason why we want to do this is because it creates an event for your customers to see in their dashboard of things that are upcoming, and so they can know, hey, on Friday night I'm going to join that sale. Okay. And then I can schedule it. Once it's scheduled, it'll see here in our event management and also in our dashboard, we'll see that it's scheduled. Okay, so let's go ahead and get an event started. We just click play and we see this reminder to make sure that we have our tax table prepared. And also it lets us know what shipping table we have selected. We want to make sure that we have the correct one so that we don't have to change it after the fact, and we want to make sure our buyers know what they're paying during the sale. Next thing you'll know as we start up here is that my voice is out of sync because the audio quit recording, and so I have to do a voiceover now for the rest of this, except for a small piece where it picked up when I viewed it as a buyer, which is that what this screen is. So this is in another browser, and this is what the buyer sees when I start up my sale. They'll see it here on their dashboard, and then also on their list of live events. And if you can imagine, there's lots of events showing that they would see many cards with these. So if they click start, pops up for them,
how that
and
looks.
here's the real audio.
So a couple of differences is that they'll see the buy button here, where of course you won't see that buy button. Your controls are in the middle here to navigate. Notice that this view of me, so this is my right hand, and you'll see that they see you, with a proper perspective. When you're seeing yourself, this is my right hand, you're seeing a mirrored image because it's more natural for you to see yourself and know which way to move. But then we don't have the issue where any numbers you show and things like that, it'll look backwards to you, but to the buyer here, it will look proper. Okay, so
now that I left that event, we're back to the voiceover of me, and I'm going to take a quick break right here and set up another buyer account on a different computer, so I can act as a buyer, but you can see this screen at the same time. Okay, so with this new buyer set up, his name is Shobai, we can see how when a buyer purchases and does some things, we'll see from our perspective what happens. First, we're going to have Shobai purchase this. We see the message that we get, sold to Shobai. We get the sound, and now we can say, thanks Shobai, we appreciate your order, so we can interact with our buyers. And just for fun, we're going to have Shobai buy again. Okay, notice that now we have quantity 2 left. They've purchased both of them, and now I want to go on to the next item, so I just click here, next, and we'll notice that we've gone on to item number 101, which we entered earlier on our inventory list. And because it's the last item, we don't have a next button, but the previous button now appears, and they buy that one, and now our quantity then goes back to 0. Now if we jump over to our other buyers, we'll notice, and sometimes when I'm on the same screen, the video has a little error. On the same computer, video has some issue. Notice that the buyer here, it now says next. So this means that the item's sold out, but if this buyer wanted it, they can say, hey, put me on the wait list, and if it goes, gets canceled or isn't ended up purchasing, then I want an opportunity to purchase that. And here in a minute we'll show you how that looks from the buyer side. Now we have these 2 other buttons, the new item here, and next to it with the pencil with the edit. This is if, let's say I'm selling something, either an out-of-the-box sale, or I'm selling something and someone says, oh, I would like that. If it's in red and I had it here, I can just reach and grab that off of the rack and click this button, and notice that now the item number has jumped to 102, which didn't exist before, because it's going to give me the next one in line. And I can change that if I want to, or I can, if I have a numbering system in order, then that's just automatically there for me. This other information as well is pre-populated. Oh, and sorry, I'm going to change that item new 200 for as an example. This other information is pre-populated, but I can change that, change the price to $35, change this to a red jacket. But if I'm doing a bunch of things that are similar, then I don't have to retype things. Say I'm doing a bunch of same style of clothing and the prices are the same, so that's in there for me. Once I'm done with this, I can just go ahead and click add, and notice that now that becomes the current item. And so you can see how easy it is to just create items as we go, and then after it's in there I can go to the previous just like before. So it actually inserted this new item right into that inventory list that I had created before, so it still has the natural go to the next, go to the previous item features. Okay, another thing that I can do is I can edit an item. So let's say that I am selling this, I realize, oh, that should have been a large. I can click on that pencil, change the description. Another thing I can do is if I realize my quantity was off and I actually had another one, I can click on the pencil, edit that, change the quantity, and it updates the quantity for the buyers just on the fly. Another thing that I can do, and really I can use either button for this, let's say that someone says, hey, can you go back to item number 100? Or I already had that item in my inventory. I can click on this and I can enter an item that exists in my inventory. It doesn't have to be on the inventory list, just in my system. And I type in that number and it automatically pulls up the price and the description for whatever that is. So you can imagine if you did some previous shows, had something that didn't sell, then someone mentioned something that so you think they might be interested, you can just grab that off the rack, type in the inventory number associated with it, and down here the button, instead of add or edit, it says use, and it just brings that item to be the current item. Another way that this is really handy is that, oh, forgot that I did this a couple more times, jumped back to the item 200 that we created on the fly, and it did the same thing. Notice that we're editing, not adding when we use a duplicate item. So what this actually means as well is that you cannot duplicate item numbers within your system. If we click up here, we can see the list of items that we've shown and the status if they've been purchased and who purchased them. Oh, I couldn't remember what I was doing there, but this is where we had Shopify enter message, and let's say it's a rude message, and so we don't want that person in the sale. This will happen in a lot of public sales. So I can click over to that viewer and I can kick them out of this sale, which means that this is kind of a temporary ban. Or I can block the viewer, which means they won't even be able to see any future events that I do either. So this is a way to keep all the creepers out of your sales. Up here at the top, we have an at-a-glance status for your sale. So we can see our total sales, how many purchases, how many different buyers there are. So in this case, we only had one buyer, but they purchased 3 things. And then we have the total viewers, and that is the total number of people who have come into view. And notice down just above the list of viewers, it says current viewers, and that's how many people are currently watching your sale. When we're all done, we can click End Sale, and we get this message. It says, as a host, when you end a sale, it ends for everybody, and all outstanding purchases are converted into purchase orders. This means that people can go and pay. So I click Yes, and then if we go over and look at a buyer, we see that they get a similar message saying that the host ended the sale. Items you requested for purchase have been combined into a purchase order, which can be found in the Purchases section on the navigation menu. Payment for these purchases must be made within 1 hour or they will be automatically canceled. And this is to make sure people aren't just hoarding items and not paying. Now this person didn't buy anything, so we don't have anything here. The other buyer on the other computer that I had did buy some things. Now let's go back and restart this so we can take a look at another feature of our system with the waitlisting. So I'll get the 2 buyers set up. I'm going to do a new item just with a quantity of 1 so that we can see how the waitlist process works. There we go. And we'll go over to this other buyer, get them in the sale as well. So first of all,
we'll go onto my
sound.
Other buyer account. This other buyer buys it, but it's the last one, and so on this buyer here, we see, oh, it's sold out. But it was an item, this small white hat is something I really wanted. Keeping in mind we're looking at a buyer account now. So I'm going to say next. I'm going to join the wait list. So I click next, get added to my wait list, which I can click here and see the things I'm waitlisted for. And then that buyer, let's say for some reason they end up canceling. So I'll go to this other buyer and I'm going to return it. And now the person who's on the wait list gets a message, hey, this item was just returned. Would you like it? Say, yes, I'll take it. And then it goes to my purchase list. Okay, and so that's how the, oh, and looks like my video just stopped here. There we go. And that's how the wait list works for the people who are in the live sale. So now the details on that is that when a wait list exists and then something gets returned or canceled, it will be offered to the next person in line who is still in your live sale. Okay, so it gives an advantage to the people who are still in your sale. And then if they decline it, it'll go to the next person who's still in the live sale, and so forth. Okay. Oh, and from the buyer's perspective, we should take a look at this. So this is a buyer, and I'm going to leave the sale, and I'm asked, would you like to check out now? If I click no,
then when I re-enter the sale, our item will still be listed here.
If I say yes,
at the bottom, and if I say yes, then it takes me directly so that I can purchase for or purchase the things that I claimed during the sale. Okay. And now we're back to just the voiceover. Okay, and so now as a host, when I end the sale, again, it ends for everybody, and now let's go take a look at the purchase orders. Now, right now I have a filter on, so it's only showing the shipped items. So I'm going to click on filter, uncheck shipped, and I'll see everything, which right now is just the 2 orders from the sale that we just completed. So if we click one of them, we'll see some details. First of all, we'll see the items that they have. We have the opportunity to cancel the order. So if I say, oh, I messed up, I don't actually have any of these in stock anymore, I'm going to send a message to the buyer saying, I'm sorry, I messed up on this. Then I'll cancel the order and it will automatically refund the buyer. Another thing I can do is if they email me and say, hey, I actually wanted that item 103 or something, is it available still? I can say, sure, I can come in and add that item to their purchase order for them, and then once that's added, they can go in and pay and purchase that extra item as well. Right now, we don't have the ability to record the sales and have the buyers go in and add more things to their list, but that's on our to-do list. But for right now, this is a way that we can increase our sales a little bit when a buyer decides to add to their order. Okay, now let's jump over to customer or buyer, and we see that when they go in, they can click on this make payment, and right away they can pay for their order. So this is much different than using an email invoice system or something. So I'll put in this fake credit card information we can use on this test site, submit that, and then we'll see that gets paid, and we'll see the status on that top line change to paid. And if we jump over to the seller account, we need to go out and then come back in because it just doesn't, if we're on the list of orders already, it doesn't show up. And we see that it's paid, and see these buttons now changed to where there's a create shipping label button. We can still cancel the order, and even though they've paid, this will refund them. And we can contact the buyer. So before we create a shipping label, let's go take a look at another thing. We're going to jump over to the other buyer real quick, the one that's on the other computer, and I'm going to complete that payment so that we will end up with 2 paid orders right here. Okay, and so it's paid. I'll leave, I'll come back, and now we'll see that we have 2 paid orders, and I can go into each one of those and it'll look similar to what we had before. One thing that I can do now though, one thing that I may want to do, imagine I have this great big list, and I can filter and say only show me the paid, and then I can check this box and say select all, and I can create a shipping label for all of these at the same time. So let's take a look to see what the shipping label looks like. So there's actually 2 parts to this shipping label printout that we get. First is a checklist, and notice here that we have it says 2 orders total 5 total items, total sales, and the ship date is the day that we print out this list, because we're going to do this and ship it out on this day or very soon after. Notice that each line we have the order number and the name of the customer, and we're going to use this to help us pack up our shipments, which we'll use this bottom part to actually do the shipping. So notice here on the left we have a packing slip, so we can go to our warehouse or wherever we have all of our product, and we just go down the list and pick those items, and then we fold our paper in quarters, and we have a shipping label in the top right that we slip into a plastic shipping label sleeve and peel off the back and stick that on the box, and then come up here and mark that that has been packed. Then we go to our next label, do the same thing, pick those items, put them in a box or a package, fold it in quarters, put in the shipping label sleeve, and come up here and click packed. And then when we have made it out to get it all shipped, we can mark shipped, and we have this one sheet still that will help us when we go back to Shobai and we need to mark these items as shipped. And then the user or the buyer will get a notification and the status will change to shipped. I'm not going to do it right now, so we can look at one other thing that we can do here. So let's say that after you've decided that you wanted, or after you've printed the label, the buyer comes in and wants to cancel order. And actually you need to refresh this screen to show that it's not just paid, but it's actually in process. Remember, we were already on that screen, so when we worked it doesn't update automatically. So it's in process now. They click on it and they think, oh, I actually decided I didn't want this, but it's in process, so I can't cancel it, but I can do a cancellation request. Now before you print the shipping label, they can just cancel, and it will refund their money, cancel their order, and you don't need to be involved in that. But once you print that shipping label, then we don't know how far along it is in the shipping process, so now it just becomes a cancellation request that they can submit, and then you as the seller need to decide what happens. So if we jump back to the seller screen and go back in, we'll see that this we need to change that filter because these are not just paid anymore, and we'll see that we have one that's the label printed and one that's a cancellation request. And so let's go into that cancellation request and see what our bottom options look like now. And so now we can see, oh, I can accept this cancellation request, and if the order is not far enough along, then I can do that. But if it's already too late and I can't catch it, then I can just click shipped. Okay. And so I'm going to go in, we'll actually accept this cancellation request on this one. Okay, so it refunds them automatically, marks it as canceled. And then for the label printed, we'll go in and we'll say, okay, this one is shipped, and the buyer will get their email notification that it's out the door, and we're all done now. So I hope you can see how much time this saves you, where within minutes after the sale is over, the sellers will be making their payments, and you can start shipping basically immediately. In the sales that we've done so far, I don't know the exact percentages, but it seems like 80-90% of the people have paid just within five minutes of the sale ending. And so just immediately you can finish everything up, create those shipping labels, and get on to your next sale. Our hope is that we take away a lot of the tough headache part of selling and just let you focus on selling and shipping. Last thing that we need to look at is down here, reports. We see that we can see an overview of all of our sales, our recent time period, and so forth, and also take a look at some reports that we can download as a spreadsheet or a CSV that we might need for tax reporting or something like that. Okay. And so the reporting, some basic reporting is available to you for your accounting purposes. And that's the overview of the system. Hope that this helps you get set up and get going, and we're looking forward to working with you to help you make Shobai an important and successful part of your business.